Yep, we're back, everybody. And now, very special guest joining us in studio. We've got, I think, a legend in the coaching world in the state of Utah. Blaine Monkres in the studio with us. Coach, good morning. How we doing?
Doing good today. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, man. I've known about the news that you were going to retire for probably a couple weeks now, but you had some vacation time over the Thanksgiving holiday where you wanted the season to kind of finish up before we announced it. So today, kind of the official announcement that you're hanging it up. I know you addressed the team and told the team at the team banquet that this was going to be the final season for you. I'm just curious, what led to that decision? What was it like when you actually said the words out loud, like, guys, I'm not coming back?
Hell, it's one of the hardest decisions I've ever had to make in my life. And, especially when I told my coaches, we had a coaches meeting, I think it was 2 weeks ago yesterday on a Sunday night, getting ready for the banquet, and I had to tell them. And I'm not going to lie to you, it was an emotional time. It was hard to spit those words out that I'm not coming back next year. But it's just time for somebody else to take over. And, just a season of, do I want to go through this again? Work, it's a 12-month-a-year job, and it's around the clock now. So I've been thinking about it for a while and thought about it during this season. So it just came to a time when, and every year I'd go through, well, I want to coach this kid. I want to coach this kid. I want to coach this kid. So I'm coming back. I'm coming back. I'm coming back. And I had kids coming back this year that I'd love to coach. But it's like my wife said, there's always going to be somebody you're going to want to come back and coach. So, I spent a lot of time talking to her about it, and we just decided, well, it's time for somebody else to take over at Dixie High and try to get the program, keep it rolling, and just decided to make that decision.
Yeah, and obviously you're going to be missed. 242 career wins. You first started coaching in the fall of 1983. You've been either an assistant coach or a head coach for 41 seasons.
Yeah. I remember the first year I started coaching in 1983. It was a little Roy Junior High. Got my first job, and I was coaching football, basketball, and baseball, and I was the head coach of all three. So it was a good time. I didn't know one thing about basketball, coaching basketball. I'd played a little baseball and had coached some football and played a little football, but basketball I had no idea. And it showed that year. We did really good in football. I think we won the league in football that year, and we won it in baseball that year. I had some really good kids at basketball. They were good, but my coaching did them in. So, but it was fun. It was fun doing all three, and I was there for just 3 years, but that's where I started.
Yeah. I thousands of kids coached, thousands of kids. Do you see a lot of the kids you've coached now? They're all grown up. A lot of them are married. A lot of them went on to play college football. What's that coach-player relationship like after 41 years of coaching? I mean, some of these kids are probably coaching in the state now, and your coaching tree, that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah, there's a lot of kids that are coaching. There's a lot of kids that are doing a lot of things. I mean, they have families now. I'd even coached one son of a kid that had played for me. So that was pretty fun. But yeah, there's a lot of kids. I mean, they're out there making a living. I've heard from a lot of them since the words got out, and they're thank you for all the time that you put in, and tell you what time they enjoyed, and you ask them how they're doing. And those relationships just go on forever. It's not just that the 2 or 3, 4 years while you're coaching them. You see a lot of them after that, see them around town down here. And every time I go up north, I run into them. And, I have a lot of relationships with kids on a regular basis that I coached here. Blake Barney, I get in touch with him all the time, and he's all the way in Alaska as a dentist. So it's fun. It's fun to see them grow up, fun to see them what they do after football's over.
Blake probably would love to go to St. George and be a dentist, but we have a million dentists already in this town.
Yeah.
Probably not as many dentists in Alaska. Probably a smart move.
Yeah, make a lot of money up there too.
I could start naming players that you've coached, but is there maybe a couple special teams or special memories that you will always cherish? I know you got the state championship team, and you've had some great players. I know a few of them, guys like Mike Sharp. They're now helping you coach. I thought Mike had a great run when you were calling plays for him at Dixie High School, and then went up to had a great career. And got a shot, a brief minute in the NFL. But there's guys like that all over the place.
Oh yeah, I've had some great ones down here. Like I say, Mike Sharp was a great one. I had a great one this year, and Rand Sawyer is going to go up to SUU like Mike Sharp did. And
I saw that over the weekend. He committed.
Yeah, he committed over the weekend, and that's a good fit for him. And going to have him play running back up there. So they like to run the ball, so that's a good fit for Rand up there. There's been a bunch of them, Blake Barney, just a bunch of good kids that have, George Lamb and a bunch of good kids. Casey Erickson have gone on and played, and Kate Hansen, just kids that have gone on and played, even kids that don't go on and play that have just gone on with life, and it's just good to see them all the time.
Couple your pupils are at Utah Tech too. Reggie Graff, I thought, had a really good year. I know the record wasn't what Coach Anderson wanted, and then Bronson Parvin, he got that 3 or 4 starts there before he got injured, and either of those guys could be the quarterback of the future. They both showed a lot of promise this year.
Yeah, you got to have 2 good ones nowadays in college football. You never, you're one play away from going down, but they did a good job over there at the first of the year till the end of the year. I thought they got a lot better, and they had a chance to win those last 3 games. Only won one of them, but obviously, you go overtime with SUU, who I think won 6 or 7 games this year. And, Reggie did a good job this year, and Bronson did good while he was in there. So that'll be a battle for 2 Dixie kids that had a great high school career and are probably going to go on and have great college careers right here in town.
Blaine Monkres hanging them up after over 40 years coaching football at the high school level. Did have that brief stint where you went with Coach Brumfield to Utah Tech as the offensive coordinator for a couple seasons.
Yeah, that was fun. That was a good experience, and I'd known Coach Brumfield for a long time, and we still talk on a regular basis. But that was a fun experience to go over there for a year, and I was hoping it was going to last longer than that, but he decided to hang it up a little quicker than I thought he was going to, and I think even a little quicker than I thought he was going to. But I still remember how he did that, and we were on the bus ride. We had just gone to Central Washington. We had a lead, and we had scored to go ahead with 1:50 to go in the game. And I think it was the first year they beat Central Washington. We played them twice that year. We beat them at home earlier, and they went down to score to kick the field goal to beat us right at the end. And it was kind of rough on him in the locker room, I could tell afterwards. But we were coming back on the bus, and he and I were the only ones awake. It was about 4:00 in the morning, 4:30 in the morning on the bus ride back. And he leaned over and said, "Hey, I think I'm done." I said, "Hey, yes, think about it. Let's take a little time and think about it." He goes, "Nah, I think I'm done." He stopped the bus right there in Provo and got off it. Has a house right there in Springville. So he stopped the bus up there in Springville and got off the bus, and we got him home. And anyway, he decided he was going to hang him up. I think that rough game. That game kind of did him in.
I'm sure you've got some other stories like that. A lot of bus rides over the years.
Yeah, there's a lot of bus rides, a lot of long trips. Boy, there were some long trips it was Dixie State at the time, but there were some long bus rides.
Humboldt.
And,
Those
Humboldt,
switchbacks.
South Dakota School of Mines.
Simon Fraser.
Yeah. We did fly to Simon Fraser that year.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, we flew to Seattle and then bus from there, but those are some long bus rides.
I've heard that one year you guys were busing and had some passport issues. I don't know if that was the season before you or after you, but there was some. It's always a challenge, obviously, to get all these kids and everything dialed in and get across the border.
Yeah, that was the year before I got there because I remember we got off the plane and Coach Brumfield said, "Hey, we're going to get you a car." And then because we always had somebody get stopped at the border. So we're going to get you a car, and then you'll take them back, get them a room, and then drive to the game, the ones that can't get across the border. But we got up there, and passports went good. Everybody went through, and it was, we got everybody across. And then I was in the car, and I didn't know cell phones didn't work in Canada. So I had no idea where the field was, where the game was. I was in the car by myself. I'd never been there before, but I finally ended up getting there, and it was a mess that day, boys, raining sideways, but it was a fun experience.
What about, we talked about, the players. I want to go back to the memories for just a second, and then I want to get into your coaching tree and some of the coaches that you've coached with. But give me a couple other memories from coaching. What really stands out? A couple memories you'll never forget that resonate with you.
Oh, well, there's quite a few of them. I remember when I first started, it was kind of this, we had these rules and we're going to follow these rules and this is how we're going to do it. And, if you're not on the bus on time, you're going to get left and we don't care. Don't drive yourself to the game, stuff like that. But I remember one time our best player at Fremont's coach came in and said, ready to go? He said, yeah, I'm ready. Let's go. It's like we were leaving at 5 or something. It was 5-5. And they said, hey, Olin Hannum hasn't got here yet. Here's our quarterback, middle linebacker. He ended up going to North Carolina State. But anyway, he's not on the bus yet. So, I said, well, then I better find something to do till he gets here. So I just set my office. I said, let me know when he gets here. So we waited about 10 minutes. He finally showed up. I don't know what happened. Finally showed up and got on the bus. So it's kind of in the locker room. It's when's the bus leaving? When Olin gets here, the bus is leaving. so we just
that rule went out the window. Yeah, with Olin being late.
That rule went out the window. So we got rid of that one. But anyway, he went out and had a great career at North Carolina State. And a guy named he was out there 2 years and was probably getting penciled in to be the starter in his junior year there. And a guy named Phillip Rivers showed up. So kind of they had a package for him, but Phillip Rivers, came in and took his place kind of. But anyway, he was a fun kid to coach, great player, quarterback, middle backer. You don't see that very often.
No, you saw it in the 90s.
Yeah.
You just haven't seen it since that much.
No. It's hard to even get kids to play both ways now, let alone quarterback, middle backer.
Yeah, I watched that state tournament. I wonder how much Crimson's comeback played into the fact that they played everybody one way, and Spanish Fork had 7 guys going both ways.
Yeah, it probably did. It's tough to do it anymore.
Yeah. Your coaching tree. Now you're not the only one that's leaving. Maybe you can confirm, but it sounds like Rick Barry, who you just got back, is your defensive coordinator from Southern Virginia. He's also gonna call it quits for now and walk with you.
Yeah, last time I talked to him, obviously we were in Maui this last week, and he said, he's kind of confirmed that he's hung it up, but you never know. He might get some opportunities and change his mind. I don't know. Just have to see, but. Yeah, he's hanging it up as far as I know. And I think that's the only one, depending on who they hire. They haven't hired anybody yet. They're kind of going through the process right now. And they may hire somebody by the end of this week, if not by the first of next week. And, it just depends on who they hire. If the staff's going to stay, I imagine if they hire somebody there, most of the staff will stay. But if they go outside, who knows who he'll want and if they'll still want to coach. So, what's going to go on there? I really don't know right now, but I think Rick's either way not going to coach again.
Yeah, and you guys had that one state championship together, right?
I think
Was it when Taylor was the fullback?
I think when Taylor was running back and the nose tackle. That defensive tackle.
What year was that? 2000 and
that might have been 12.
12?
Yeah, I think it was 12. Yeah. 2012.
Yeah. So you guys have spent a lot of years together. They didn't split up for a minute when he went and coached against you when he was at Desert Hills for a couple of years. And then obviously he went to Southern Virginia to be the defensive coordinator for a season and came back this last year. This is it for you. You're not a free agent. You're not in 2 years you're going to go, you know what? I miss it. Cause I know coaching gets in your blood a little bit.
Yeah. I could about 99.9% say I won't be a head coach again. Something else, a year or so comes along and, you want something, I don't know, just have to see how I feel. I got no plans right now of what I'm going to do. And I know I can't just sit around home all day and watch TV and stuff like that. I got to find something to do. So I'll find a little something to do, whether it be with football, I don't know. It might be doing something else. I just, there's no plans right now, but if something comes along, I'm probably going to want to work and do something, along the lines, and we'll just have to wait and see what happens. Got no plans right now.
You can only clean the house so much. You can only play so many rounds of golf.
Right.
Before you break all your clubs.
Especially the way I play. That's exactly right.
Whatever. I've seen you play. You can hit it. You can hit it. You're going to have to go get a new set. That's the thing. You got to go get a retirement gift for yourself and go get a new set.
New set of clubs. And what I need to do is practice. Now I'll have some time to practice if I want to do that. So
there you go.
See if that can improve my game a little bit.
There you go. Well, if you want to go to the broadcast booth, you and Rick both, we could probably find some analysts the hats for you guys to wear here at the Fan Sports Network. Blaine Monkres live with us, announcing a couple weeks ago. This is it, hanging it up, walking away. Man, you had the stops up north, and then Dixie, 2 stints at Dixie.
Yep, 2 stints at Dixie.
Was that crazy the way it played out, where you left and then it ended up playing out for timing worked out where you could come back?
Yeah, it was crazy how that worked out. I mean, I kind of talked to Andy after he'd taken over, and he says, he called me. He says, "Hey, I think I'm going to apply at Timpview." He says, "I don't think I'm going to get it, but I may want to eventually coach at a bigger school, so I'm going to just apply and see how the interview goes." So, anyway, he went through the process, and I knew the principal at Timpview at the time, and I remember I was up north, and I left on a Sunday night to go back up north. I think I was coaching at Riverton at the time, and I left to go back up north, and the principal called me and he says, "Hey, tell me about Andy Stokes." And I knew the principal a little bit from being in meetings with him. I mean, we weren't good friends or anything, but I knew who he was. He goes, "Tell me about Andy Stokes." I said, "He's a great coach and do a great job, and he's done a great job at Dixie. He's going to be a great head coach." He goes, "I don't know. He did a pretty good job in the interview, but I just have a good feeling about him that, he might be my guy." And I said, "Well, you're not going to go wrong." So, and Andy at the time didn't think he was going to get the job. He had called me and said, "Yeah, I interviewed, didn't do really well. I'm not going to get the job." So, and I called him and said, "Hey, dude, you better make your mind up quick, because he's going to call you tomorrow morning and offer you the job." And he did. And so at least Andy got a little 24 hours to think about it. So, yeah, it timed out pretty good. He went back up there, and it opened up Dixie again, and obviously went through the process and got the job back.
My mind can't help but think, with the vacancy at Dixie, Andy's name has to be at least somebody that Dixie would want to talk to, but it seems like him and Wayne are pretty tight at the hip over there at Crimson.
Yeah, they got a good thing going over there, and I think Andy likes it, and he's got somebody good to work for, and those two do a great job, and they're a good combination with the offensive emphasis with Andy and defense with Wayne. So that's a good combination over there. It works out. Obviously, they've done a good job there, and so I don't think he's going anywhere. But if I was the principal or making the hire, I'd make that first call just to see if he had any interest whatsoever, and if he did, pursue that angle. But I can't imagine that he'd be wanting to leave Crimson.
The powers to be at Dixie, did they ask you for any recommendations when you told them that you were hanging it up?
Not a whole lot. I mean, they, ran down the list of the applicants that they have. They did open the job and had a few applicants, and asked me about, do I know this guy? Do I know this guy? And we talked a little bit about who they are and what I thought their strengths were, but not, who would I hire if it was me doing the hiring or anything like that. I'm sure, they'll make the decision. There's a lot more things that go into hiring than just being a football coach. I mean, you usually got to teach, or, do you fit in there? Do you have a job to hire somebody? If we hire outside of the staff, or outside of our staff or assistant's going to come back. So there's a lot of things to think about when you're making that hire.
Do you know how many of you coaches that you've coached with, former assistant coaches that are now head coaches? Do you have that number on the top of your head?
No, I don't know for sure, but I had a friend of mine was going through some issues that you probably saw the article in the Deseret News about Eric Thompson, the coach at Ogden High, and
just resigned.
I had coached him at Roy High. So back in the 80s, he was one of those kids that was in the junior high system. Then I went to Roy High from Roy Junior, and I had the opportunity to work with his dad, who was the head coach, and coach him. So his brother had put together a little thing for him, and they were kind of doing a tree of his dad to me, and then to Fred Fernandez, who went on, only 2 off his staff when he had jobs, and then kind of just a tree there. And it was like 12 guys that I think had gone on, 12, 14 guys that had gone on to be head coaches, that at somewhere along the line had coached on the same staffs that I'd been on when I was head coaches. So there's been a few of them, and a lot of them gone on to do great jobs, and just taken to a next level. So, and it's fun to see those guys do well. Eric was a sad story, but he's making the best of it, as you could tell in that story.
Yeah.
In the Deseret News. So a lot of them have gone on, had a lot of success, and it's fun to watch them too.
Blaine Monkres, everybody. Enjoy your retirement, buddy. Thanks for coming on, sharing some stories, talking about what was a legend of a career. One of the best. 242 career wins. What was it? Be 35 years as a head coach, and then 7 as an assistant coach. Then
yeah, around in there somewhere.
Minus 1 year as a college coach.
Yeah.
What a great run, buddy.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been a great run. I've enjoyed every minute of it, and I'm sure I'm going to miss it next fall. And it's going to be hard to be on the sideline, but I'll be excited for especially if one of my assistants at Dixie takes over. It'll be fun to go watch them play, and I'll be there in the stands watching Dixie play, cheering those kids on. So we'll see how the next chapter of my life goes.
Yeah, it's gonna be exciting. Dust off the cobwebs, get the oil changed in the pickup truck and the side by side, and enjoy yourself.
All right, I'll do it.
All right, buddy. Blaine Monkres live here on the drive, hanging it up, retiring as football coach of the Dixie Flyers. Are you gonna still keep teaching for a year or two, or are you done with that too?
No, I'm done. December 20th. It.
I'll call in some tea times.
Yeah, call me and we'll be ready to go.
Good to see you, Coach.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Enjoy the retirement. Blaine Monkres, everybody. Got to get to a timeout. Lots more on the other side. Stay with us.